I told my wife last night that I'm going to have dinner with my ex. And now my wife is sleeping in the guest room and barely looking at me, and I'm sitting here wondering how this got framed like I'm betraying my marriage. Emma and I were together for almost 6 years. We met in grad school. Same field, same conferences, same friends overlapping. She's tall, blonde, loud. People notice her. I used to like that. It made me feel like I'd chosen someone impressive. She has a PhD, published early, the whole thing. My friends loved her. My parents loved her. It felt easy to show her off. We broke up because I wasn't ready to get married. She wanted a timeline. Kids, house, all of it mapped out. I kept saying I didn't see the point of rushing. She took that as me saying I didn't want it with her. Maybe that's fair. At the time I felt cornered. I didn't like being told what I should want. About a month later I met my wife. She's a nurse. Dark curly hair, quiet. She doesn't take over a room. She listens more than she talks. I liked that she didn't push. Being around her felt calm. No debates about 5-year plans. No arguing about who sacrificed more for whose career. We just dated. It was easy. My friends called her Rebound Girl from the beginning. It started as a joke the first time I brought her around. They'd had a few drinks and one of them said something like, "So this is the rebound." I laughed. She sort of smiled like she wasn't sure if she was supposed to. I should have shut it down. I didn't. I told myself they'd get over it once they saw we were serious. Even at our wedding, my best man made that comment about rebound girls being temporary and how I turned her into an honest woman. Everyone laughed. I laughed too because correct him in mid-speech will create more drama. My wife didn't laugh. I noticed. I just figured she'd vent about it later and we'd move on. My friends also make comments about her being just a nurse. They're academics or in tech or law. There's this unspoken hierarchy in the group. Emma was a PhD, published, spoke on panels. My wife works 12-hour shifts and comes home exhausted and smelling like antiseptic. They'll say stuff like, "Jack used to date a doctor and now he's with bedside care." They say it like it's clever. I've told them to knock it off once or twice, but not in a serious way. If I'm honest, I don't like conflict in that group. I've known these guys since I was 12. They were there when my parents split up and I was crashing at one of their houses every other weekend because my mom was working double shifts. Being part of that group mattered. It still does. When they joke, I joke back. That's just how it's always been. My wife hates that I still hang out with them as much as I do. Every other weekend there's something, a game night, a birthday, some event. She comes sometimes, but after a while she started opting out. She says she's tired. I know part of it is she doesn't feel welcomed. There was one thing about a year ago that should have been a warning. Emma was back in town for a conference and texted me to grab coffee. I told my wife. She said she wasn't thrilled but trusted me. I went. It was an hour. We talked about work mostly. I came home and my wife was quiet the rest of the night. She asked if Emma looked the same. I said yes. She asked if I missed her. I said no. I meant it at the time. That was that, or so I thought. Last weekend was this fundraising gala for the hospital. My wife got us tickets through her department. Formal thing. Suits and gowns. I wasn't expecting to see Emma there. Apparently she's collaborating with someone locally and got invited. When I saw her across the room, I felt it. Not in some dramatic way, just a jolt. Familiar. She looked the same. Taller than most people around her, laughing with a group. My wife squeezed my hand when she noticed me staring. I told her I'd go say hi. I brought my wife with me and introduced them. Emma said she knew exactly who she was. She mentioned the guys describing her. Laughed. My wife's smile tightened. I changed the subject quickly, asked how long she was in town. A week, she said. At some point my wife drifted off to talk to co-workers. Emma and I stayed in the same spot longer than I planned. We started reminiscing. Grad school disasters. That conference in Chicago where our poster fell down. The time my car broke down on the way to her parents' house. Stuff like that. It felt easy. Familiar rhythm. She still interrupts me mid-sentence when she thinks she knows what I'm about to say. I didn't realize how long we'd been talking until I saw my wife across the room checking her phone. I went over, asked if she was ready to leave. She said sure. In the car she was quiet. I asked if she was okay. She said it was interesting seeing the famous Emma in person. I told her that was unnecessary. She said she watched us talk all night. I said it wasn't all night. It just felt long because we hadn't seen each other in years. When we got home I told her Emma was only in town for a week and I might grab dinner with her before she leaves. My wife asked if I meant inviting her over. I said no, just the two of us. Catching up, she asked, like a date. I said no, just dinner. Two adults who used to know each other. She asked if I missed Emma. I said I wasn't going to lie, it felt good talking to her. There's something about her energy. I probably shouldn't have said that part, but I was trying to be honest. Her whole posture changed. She stood up and said if I go to that dinner, she's done. I laughed at first because it felt dramatic. I told her she was being insecure. She said she refuses to compete with someone my friends still think I should be with. I told her no one thinks that. She reminded me about the jokes, the wedding speech, the coffee last year, The way I never really correct anyone. I said those are just jokes. She asked why they're always at her expense. I didn't have a quick answer for that. She said she feels like a placeholder I accidentally kept. That strung more than I expected. I told her that was ridiculous. We've been married 3 years. We bought a house together. We talk about kids. That's not placeholder behavior. She said talking about kids and actually wanting them are different things. Emma wanted kids. I didn't. That's where the conversation started turning into something bigger than dinner, and I could feel myself getting defensive. I said I've grown since then. She asked if I grew or if I just chose someone who wouldn't push me. I told her she was twisting things. She said I light up around Emma in a way I don't with her. I said that's unfair. She said maybe it is, but it's how she feels. And I just stood there thinking about how this was supposed to be a simple dinner. 2 hours, a restaurant, conversation, then done. Instead it turned into a referendum on my marriage. She kept talking. She said every time my friends make a joke about her being the rebound, I look embarrassed for a second, and then I laugh along. Essie said that moment sticks with her longer than the joke itself. She said she stopped coming around them because she was tired of being graded against someone who isn't even in the room most of the time. I told her she was reading too much into stupid comments. She asked me if I've ever once told them to stop in a way that made it clear I meant it. I tried to think of an example and came up empty. She reminded me of my birthday last year. We were at Mark's place. Someone made a comment about how Emma would have organized a better party. I remember rolling my eyes and saying something like, "Here we go again." Then I changed the subject. I counted that as shutting it down. She said it didn't. She said it felt like I was protecting their comfort over hers. That pissed me off. I told her she was asking me to cut off people I've known my whole life. She said she's asking me to act like I chose her publicly, not just privately. She asked me if I would be fine with her having dinner alone with an ex who still had friends talking about how she downgraded. I said that's not the same situation. She asked how it's different. I didn't have a clean answer. I went with, "I trust you." She said trust isn't the point, respect is. At some point I said she was making me choose between her and my friends. She said I made that choice when I married her, I just haven't acted like it. That's when I got frustrated. I told her I can have dinner with whoever I want. I'm not a teenager asking permission. She said she doesn't want to be married to someone who talks about another woman having something about her and then expects her to smile through it. I tried to explain what I meant. I said Emma is charismatic, confident, that's it. It doesn't mean I want her back. It doesn't mean I regret anything. She asked if I'd still want to have dinner if Emma hadn't complimented me all night. I said she didn't compliment me all night. She just asked about my work. She seemed impressed I got that fellowship. My wife said she asks about my work too. I said it's different when someone from your field understands the details. That was the wrong thing to say. She went quiet for a long time. Then she said she sees now. I asked what that meant. She said she knows where she stands. I hate when she goes calm like that. It feels worse than anger. When she gets calm, she's already decided something. She said if I go to dinner, she won't fight about it. She won't beg. She'll just take that as information and act accordingly. I told her that's manipulative. She said it's self-preservation. I didn't know what to say to that, so I doubled down. I said I'm going. I won't be policed over something innocent. She nodded. Then she grabbed a pillow and went to the guest room. I stood there for a few minutes expecting her to come back out and apologize. She didn't. I went to the door later and tried to open it. It was locked. That annoyed me. We don't lock doors in this house. I slept in our bed alone. This morning she got up early for her shift. I heard her moving around in the kitchen. Normally she'll come back into the bedroom before leaving, even if we argued. She didn't. I went out there and she was already in her scrubs, tying her hair up. I asked if we were really doing this. She said she's not stopping me from going to dinner. I said that's not what I meant. She looked at me and said, I know. Then she left, I still trying to figure out when it turned. Part of me still thinks she's overreacting. It's dinner. Emma is in town for a week. If I don't see her now, I probably won't for years. We shared a big chunk of our lives. That doesn't just evaporate. But there's another part that's uncomfortable with how much I wanted to see Emma again. When I texted her this morning to confirm dinner, I felt excited. I won't pretend I didn't. She responded almost immediately, said she was glad I reached out, added a smiley face. I told myself it's harmless. Then I thought about my wife watching me across that ballroom. I remember her standing with her coworkers, smiling but not really. I remember not going over sooner because I was in the middle of telling a story to Emma and I didn't want to break the flow. I've spent years telling myself the jokes from my friends don't matter, that my wife is secure enough to brush them off, that she understands how that group operates. Now I'm realizing I might have confused her tolerance with acceptance. There's also this piece I don't like admitting. When I'm with my friends, I feel like the same guy I was at 18. The one who belonged somewhere solid. The one who wasn't the kid bouncing between houses. They still see me that way. When they tease me about downgrading, it's wrapped in this idea that I had a high-status partner and chose differently. There's a weird pride in that narrative, like I had options. Writing that makes me sound worse than I intended. My wife doesn't fit into that old identity. She didn't know me back then. She doesn't care about who dated who in college. She cares about how we show up now. And maybe I've been splitting myself in two without realizing it. I still think an ultimatum over dinner feels extreme. I also can't ignore that she's pulled back in a way that doesn't feel temporary. She didn't text me today. She usually sends something during her lunch break. A text, meme, or complaint about a patient. Nothing today. If I cancel dinner, I know my friends will have something to say if they find out. They'll call me whipped. They'll say I'm scared of my own wife. That shouldn't matter at 36. Somehow it still does. If I go, I might be proving her point. So I'm stuck between feeling like I'm defending something harmless and realizing I might be feeding a pattern I've ignored for years. Am I actually being reasonable here and she's insecure? Or am I the asshole for even wanting this dinner knowing how all of this looks? Chat between narrator and his friends. Group chat. Me. Need opinions, thinking about grabbing dinner with Emma before she leaves. Friend 1. Wait, Emma's me. Yes, friend 1. And you're thinking about, obviously go, me. It's complicated, friend 2. Oh no, don't tell me Rebound is making this a thing, me. Don't call her that, friend 1. Relax, you know what I mean. What's the issue, me? She says it's inappropriate. Gave me the whole if you go I'm done speech, friend 2. Done over dinner, friend 1. That's unhinged, me. She thinks it's disrespectful, says you guys still compare her, friend 2. We joke that's what we do, friend 1. Also let's not pretend Emma wasn't objectively impressive. That's not an insult, that's data. Me. That's exactly the kind of comment that sets her off, friend 1. So she wants you to pretend your past didn't happen, friend 2. This smells like insecurity, me. She said I light up around Emma, friend 1. Do you, me? That's not the point, friend 2. It kind of is, me. I mean it was easy talking to her, friend 1. Because you two were aligned, friend 2. Yeah, no offense, but bedside shift life and postdoc grind aren't the same wavelength. Me. Careful, friend 1. I'm just saying, you had a power couple thing with Emma, everyone saw it, friend 2. And now you're being told you can't even have dinner. That's controlling, me. She says it's about respect, friend 1. Respect goes both ways. She should respect you're an adult, friend 2. If she trusted you, this wouldn't be a crisis. Me. She said she won't stop me, she'll just act accordingly. Friend 1. Translation punishment, friend 2. You can't let that set a precedent. Today it's dinner, tomorrow it's conferences in redacted. Me. You think I should just go, friend 1. Yes, if you back down, you're confirming her narrative, friend 2. Go have dinner, be normal, don't apologize for having a history, friend 1. And for the record, you deserve someone who isn't threatened by your past, me. She's not threatened, she just. Friend 2. Redacted, you're not a teenager sneaking around. Go eat, come home, end of story, friend 1. Exactly, unless you're secretly still in love with Emma, me. I'm not, friend 2. Then this shouldn't even be a debate. I went to dinner. I told myself I'd keep it simple, in and out. One meal, closure isn't the right word, but something contained. It wasn't contained, we were there almost 3 hours. Dinner turned into drinks at the place down the street. I didn't plan that part, she suggested it. I said sure without thinking too hard. It felt easy again, that's the word I keep coming back to. At dinner she brought up my wife. She said the guys told her there had been jealousy issues from the beginning. She laughed when she said it, like it was harmless gossip. I told her it's not like that. She raised an eyebrow and said she was surprised I settled down so fast after we broke up. Said she always thought I'd end up with someone more aligned with my world. I didn't push back the way I should have. I kind of half smiled. Made some comment about how life goes differently than expected. She said she figured I'd circle back eventually. Nothing physical happened. No lines crossed in that sense, but the tone shifted. It felt like we were standing in a doorway neither of us fully walked through. When I got home, my wife was awake. I told her dinner was quick, just food, basic catching up. I left out the drinks. I left out the part where Emma said she thought I'd come back. I left out how long we sat there. The next morning, friend 2 posted a story from the bar. Emma was in the background. You could see the timestamp. My wife saw it. She asked why I said it was quick. I told her I didn't think the extra time mattered. She said time matters when you lie about it. The argument wasn't explosive. It was worse than that, calm, surgical. She said the issue was Emma anymore. It was that I would look her in the face and edited the truth. I said I was trying to avoiding unnecessary drama. She said that's what people say when they don't want to own what they did. After that, something changed in the house. She moved into the guest room permanently. She shifted her clothes, then her books. The bathroom drawer emptied. She stopped asking about my day, stopped coming to anything with my friends. When they invited us to friend one's place and Emma was there again, I went alone. I told myself it was easier that way. Emma and the guys fell right back into old rhythms. At one point, friend one made another comment about intellectual compatibility. I didn't correct it. I didn't defend my wife. I just changed the subject and let it float. Later that night, Emma said she never understood why I let her go. I told her I didn't let her go, that's just how it happened. She said she always assumed I'd realize eventually. I didn't say what she meant by that, I didn't ask. I went home and my wife was already asleep, or pretending to be. The distance stretched for months. We became functional roommates. Bills paid, groceries stocked. No fights, no affection, no future planning. Conversations were logistical. I tried once to initiate something normal. Asked if she wanted to plan a trip like we used to. She said she had extra shifts coming up. I started staying out more, with the guys, with Emma sometimes in the mix. Not alone, but present. It felt easier being somewhere I wasn't being quietly evaluated. Then one afternoon she asked if we could talk. She'd already met with a lawyer. She said she'd been thinking for a long time. Said the night of the dinner told her everything she needed to know about where she ranked in my priorities. She said she can't build a life with someone who needs external validation more than partnership. I told her that was unfair, that I never cheated, that I came home every night. She said faithfulness isn't just physical. The paperwork was filed a month later. My friends told me to cheer up. Said if it fell apart that easily, it wasn't solid. Said maybe Emma being back was a sign. I don't want to be with Emma. That's the part nobody seems to understand. Seeing her again didn't make me want to rewind my life. It just reminded me of a version of myself that felt admired. That's different. Now I'm alone in my house. The guys still text. Invites to hangouts, I don't respond much. When they bring up Emma, I shut it down. I thought I was defending independence. I thought I was proving I wouldn't be managed. Instead, I proved I couldn't show up when it counted. I don't miss Emma, I miss my wife. And I'm not sure that's something I get to fix. It's been 7 months since I wrote about the divorce being filed. It's final now. Papers signed. House sold. She moved into an apartment closer to the hospital sometime in the fall. I don't know the exact address. I told myself I didn't need to. For a while after everything went through, I tried to act like I was fine. The guys kept saying this was a reset, clean slate. They dragged me out most weekends. Bars, someone's place, rooftop events. I started posting more. Gym photos, conference panels. Group shots where Emma happened to be there. I didn't tag her, but she was visible. I told myself I wasn't trying to send a message. I checked to see if my ex-wife viewed the stories. She did, for a while. That became a routine. Post something, check viewers. Feel that tightness in my chest when her name showed up. It wasn't satisfaction exactly. It was proof I still existed to her in some capacity. Emma and I kept talking after the divorce. At first it felt like momentum. She said she hated how things ended between us years ago. Said she never thought I'd actually go through with the divorce. That comment bothered me. It implied she saw this as part of some long arc back to her. One night after too many drinks, we ended up back at her place. It wasn't planned. It wasn't romantic. It just happened. I didn't stop it. Afterward, lying there, I didn't feel relieved or validated. I felt exposed. Like I'd confirmed something about myself I didn't want confirmed. She was warm, familiar, comfortable in a way that required no explanation. She started talking about how maybe timing had finally aligned. I felt panic instead of excitement. The next day I pulled back. Slower replies, shorter messages. She noticed immediately, asked what changed. I told her I wasn't in a place to start anything serious. She said she didn't think we were starting. She thought we were continuing. That line stuck. Around that same time I started snapping at the guys. One of them made a joke in the group chat about how I was back where I belong. I didn't laugh. I asked what that meant. He told me to relax. I didn't. I told them none of this was funny, that their commentary over the years didn't help. One of them said that they never told me to get divorced, that I made my own decisions. He's right. But I still blamed them. It was easier than sitting with the fact that I chose dinner. I chose the lie about how long it lasted. I chose not to defend my wife for years. The group chat hasn't felt the same since. About 2 months ago, I reached out to my ex-wife directly, just to talk. I sent a long message. I admitted I handled the dinner wrong. I admitted I minimized her feelings. I said I didn't understand how much constant public disrespect adds up. Then I added that I felt she checked out without giving us a real chance to repair things. She replied the next day. Short, said she didn't check out quickly. She said she checked out the night I told her I was going to dinner anyway. Everything after that was her catching up emotionally to a decision I'd already made. I asked her one thing. I asked if she ever felt chosen. There was a long pause before she answered. She said no. That response hit harder than the divorce paperwork, because in my head, marrying her meant she felt chosen. Buying the house meant chosen. Talking about kids meant chosen. But I never made her feel protected in rooms where it counted. A few weeks later, I ran into Emma again at a faculty event. She asked where we stood. I told her I didn't know. She asked if I slept with her because I wanted her or because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't answer right away. She answered for me, said she won't be someone's ego patch. That was accurate. Since then I've pulled back from her completely. The guys still reach out, send plans, send jokes. Tell me I'll land on my feet. I respond sometimes. I don't go out much anymore. Being around them makes me aware of how much of my identity was tied to their approval. I used to like when they compared the two women. I won't pretend otherwise. It made me feel like I had options, like I was worth competing over. Admitting that makes me sound worse than I expected, because it means I benefited from the comparison dynamic, even if I didn't consciously design it. The house sale closed 3 months ago. I moved into a smaller place. I've stopped posting as much, stopped checking who views things. There's nothing left to signal. The divorce didn't feel real at first. It felt procedural. Now it feels permanent. I don't want Emma. I don't want the version of myself I was with the guys either. And I don't know how to separate admiration from actual connection. Sometimes I replay that first night she slept in the guest room. I remember feeling annoyed, not scared, annoyed. That was probably the last window I had. I kept telling myself I didn't cheat, that I came home every night. That I was honest about feeling flattered. None of that mattered. She wanted to feel chosen in public and in private. I chose to look independent instead. Now I am, and it doesn't feel like a win. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.